My name is Sergey. I am in my workshop. I call it Accordion Utopia, and I have a website, accordionutopia.com. So in this video I'd like to talk about two instruments, or actually two and a little bit about another one, so it will be three instruments. And before I talk about them, I want to say a few words about bayans that are made in Russia or Soviet Union time, since I'm getting some questions, and the questions are basically the same. So the first question is about the quality of the instruments that were produced in the Soviet Union time. The student level instruments were usually produced with average or below average quality. There were some instruments that were mainly by luck produced with better quality, and then if they get in their good hands, which means people who use them a lot and they also take care of them, so then the instrument would sound better. I expect that some people might say this is BS, we don't believe it, this cannot be the case, but personally I honestly believe that the sound of instrument will change with time, depending how it's played, how it's stored, etc. And I'll give you an example, so I'll show you one of the instruments. This instrument it was made in Soviet Union time. It's considered to be like a student level instrument, just to take lessons or play. However, to learn how to play. However, this instrument used to belong my music teacher in the school where, not music school, just general school, and she played on it from day one until she retired and she passed away, and I bought it from her father, from her son and her husband. And this instrument was made in Belarus. Now it's a country, Bellows, but it used to be part of Soviet Union. The name of the city is Molodechno. If you want to spell it, Molodechn as in Nancy O. So most of the instruments produced by that factory, or not most of them, but most of the ones I've seen, will have this type of decoration. So you can see this inlay, and also on this side. I've seen a lot of them, and they will be different models, but they all pretty much share the same core, meaning the same type of design, same type of body construction, and I would say probably the same quality. Now, this instrument, she was playing a lot. She was playing pretty much every day for many, many years. She was taking care of it, so it's pretty clean, shiny, etc. However, she didn't take it to repair, or if like over time, you can hear how the leather, the padding on the leather compressed so much on the valves, so that there is no damping of the sound produced by valve closing. Okay, so same thing, even worse, was on this side. I slowly restore it, and I worked on the right side. I didn't do anything to the left side. So this one, it's pretty soft. What you hear, if you hear any like clicking, it's when it has a metal linkage between the button and the valve, and it sits in a groove, wooden groove. So when metal piece goes up and down, when it hit like this, it would make sound. But if you go like this, it's only the padding, and it doesn't make any sound. Very soft. So this instrument, because it has been played a lot, it has very good response. For a student instrument, that's rare when you get a response like this. And I said in my earlier videos that in my mind, response is number one. If instrument responds well, meaning whatever you do to it, that's how the sound will respond to what you do, then it's easier to play. It's easier to play with intonation. And I want to add in this video also that the best way like you compare two instruments and both of them have excellent response. The one that has even better response among these two would be the one that you can play soft and still with dynamics. Meaning you can play everything like 3 notches softer than you would normally do, but you can still produce the dynamics. You can still hear the notes are softer and louder, okay? So here is instrument, it leaks a lot because the bellows are, I didn't fix the bellows, but there is a big hole in the back, so it will take me a lot of, I mean, like, it takes more energy to squeeze bellows, but this is what it's... Sorry, I haven't played for a while, but you can hear that it responds nicely and easy to play. There is one thing that's weird about this bellows. Even it was played so much, the bellows pull easy, like up about here, and then it's like a spring. From here on, even if I press all the buttons, I can feel so much resistance in the bell. I'll just, as soon as I relax it, it wants to go back. See, I'm not touching it, and it's coming together by the bellows. I think my explanation is that the music teacher, she is a professional musician. She didn't need to open the bellows that much. She was playing on, I'm not sure an English term, but in Russian it's like a short bellows, or meaning that you only open it and close it small amount. And the professional musicians, the people that have been trained, they use air from the instrument that passes through the reeds very economically, so they don't waste the airflow. So when they can feel it, and it's all natural, becomes natural at some point. Therefore, I think the professional musicians, they don't open it like really wide. Okay. Anyway, so this instrument is not for sale. It's like just a memory for me, and I'm restoring it really slow. Like I said, I fixed this side. Actually, I'm going to show what I did on this side. That might be of an interest for some people who does restoration, or who has something like this instrument and will be interested in me restoring it. So you move it and move the camera. My workshop is a little bit a mess now because I just got several pieces of equipment, industrial equipment like a lathe, a milling machine, and I'm moving tables around. So I'm gonna open this and just show the valves, what I did here. So in order to open this, there is 4 screws. The original screws were steel with, I believe it was like a nickel plating or chrome plating. So I used brass steels because they match better with the grill. And okay, so these are the valves. I'm gonna try actually put much closer. Okay, So what I did here, these are original valves, although what I did on the milling machine, I opened that slot a little wider. Usually they make slots just a little wider than the linkage. And also it was only one layer of leather on the bottom to seal. So what I did, now it has a foam and then leather. So I glued those two together. This is something I only have raw material, so I have to cut it, glue together, glue here, and then what I did on since the slot is wider and a little bit deeper, so it gives me an extra thickness, so I can put foam under it, and then I put wax, beeswax mixed with some other stuff like resin and some other ingredients. Small amount of ingredients, so that makes it really very well sealed. I mean that each valve is, you can, I don't know if you can see well, but I can move it like this. If I press on one side versus the other, it goes like this a little bit, just a little bit, so it can adjust to whatever the temperature or changes, any changes, it would still seal. Anyway, it's enough of this one. I changed this fabric that was on this side. It was just a mesh. I had the piece of this type of fabric. It wasn't long enough, so I cut it another piece and glue here. It was not exactly the shape, but I liked it because it matches the style and the colors. Okay, so while I'm closing it, I'm going to talk a little bit. So other questions have been asked by people, like what to choose, what's the difference between Kirovsky bayan and Molodechno, like this one, or Zhytomyr. It's the name of the city where the factory is. Then also from Tula bayans and other bayans. Basically all of them are pretty similar in the sense that you can find some in a good condition, bad condition, good response, but mostly not very good response. I'm talking about student level bayans. They can differ with a little other things that I'll show you on the next instrument. But in general, you don't need to go for any particular, you don't have to look for any particular brand or model unless you have a personal reason why you want bayan from Tula factory, for example. Anyway, they can be, like, if you compare them to maybe Italian instruments most of the time have different design, I think more developed, factory developed design, or developed design to produce and make it in a mass production with better reliability, I would say. And so the next bayan I'm going to show you this one. This is for sale. So this is in the case, and I fixed it a little while ago, so I even forgot what work I did on it. So as I'm going through, I'll be showing it. This bayan was made, I'm not sure what factory. I think if it says here, it's probably it says Rostov-Don. The N is missing here. Rostov and then Don. This is the name of the city. And here there is a label. I can't read it without glasses. Anyway, a lot of instruments would have a label here where you put the holder for the left strap, and there will be something saying here. Usually it says something like bayan factory of such city, Tula, or whatever the city will be. So this is another instrument that is made probably earlier than the one I showed before this one. Like I said, this instrument I restored, and it's in a playable condition, ready for someone to be used and played. 52 buttons on this side, 100 buttons on the left side. Pretty much same arrangement as on piano type accordions here, except there is no extra row here for diminished 7, I think. So let's see. And yeah, before I forget, so in Russia, I think people call bayan when the keyboard on the right side is offset about here. However, some instruments would have it here, and they will come with a paperwork that says that this is bayan, not button accordion. The term button accordion, I'm not sure when exactly it started, but it's probably after maybe around, I don't know, 80s, 90s, when there was more imported instruments with a keyboard here, and also the keyboard would be tilted like on a piano type accordion. So it's a matter of preference. In the books it says that if you start playing this with this type of keyboard where it's almost all the way to the back, and you get used to that, then you play one that has in the middle, you might say, no, I like this better. If you start playing on the other one, again, you try this one and you say, I am used to the other one. So it's a matter of preference and what you used to play. So if you're not planning to, I don't know, buy many instruments, you just want to learn how to play, try it, you're not sure if you'll continue, I think it doesn't matter. You can buy like this keyboard or a keyboard in about one third of the body thickness. Another difference is this. If you look on the buttons, so let's say from the bottom row, one button, and then the button in the middle row, and then a button on the top row, the way I'm holding it. On some instruments, on most instruments, will be the bottom button and the button on the top row will be on the same line, on the same vertical line. Here they're slightly shifted, and the reason why this is done this way, because all the 3 rows of valves are on here. On the one I just showed, there was 2 here, the keyboard was like there, and the third one on the back behind the keyboard. So, and then on that one, it's exactly like I said, it will be aligned. Here it's like shifted. So when you take a chord, for example, or like this, I'm playing C, E, G, and another C, like that. You holding it this way. When you play on the other instrument, it's just feels slightly different, the way where fingers will be positioned. And again, it's a matter of what do you start. If you start with this one and you get used to this one, you'll say this is better. But it's just because you are used to that. When you play scale, for example, you play C, D, and here, if on that instrument, the C and D will be on the same level. So you have to push with the second finger C, and then with the fourth finger D, which should be on the same level, like this. It feels a little more stressed at first, because when it's all like diagonal, a little bit angled, I think it feels like less stress. At least that's my opinion, but you might feel different. Anyway, the other thing is the advantage of having 3 rows here. If you're playing and you need amplification, if you have a microphone here, these 3 rows are about the same distance to the microphone, and there is nothing blocking it. If you have the other bayan, there is 2 rows here, and the sound from the third row, from this row, would be coming from behind the keyboard. So it has to go around to get in the microphone amplification. So they will not sound exactly the same. So that's advantage of having 3 rows up front. Professional instruments mostly made that 3 rows here. Even the keyboard is shifted because the instrument is much deeper, meaning this dimension is bigger. And they also have another chamber inside and another set of reeds. Anyway, they're way more complicated. We're talking about student level accordions here. Okay, so this instrument has very bright sound in the right hand, and the bass is like, I would say it's average or maybe a little better than average. There are some that would play, I think for student level this is above average. For professional level instrument, that's like average. So this is like C, then this is F, G, D, A, a little bit of tune like that, and then E. I forgot that one. There is a two songs like that. Where should I play? I'm gonna... So that's how it sounds. Okay, I replaced some of the buttons. So this is not original, and it's actually a natural mother of pearl. And I found a plastic one that is not exactly the same color as the others, but this one is a little yellowish compared to other white buttons. Okay, I replaced all the felt behind on the back side of each button, so that's why it's very soft. If I'm not playing, it's the way it should be. Okay, it has pretty good bellows, so we can show how quickly it opens. You can see, not holding it, just hanging, and slowly opens by its weight. It doesn't weigh much, but it holds air pretty good. You can see, like, if I leave it, it's very slowly closes. Okay. Replaced this strap, and this is a brand new piece, and I just cut it, stitched here so it doesn't fall apart, and then also attached this fabric. It's the fabric that goes underlining on your clothes, and it's very slippery. I mean, it's easier for the hand. It's nice to slide it. And also there is a, I forgot already. I think there was a tiny layer of cushion on the inside. So when your hand is not, there is a small thin layer of cushion on the back, on the inside. Okay, let's see what work has been done inside. Oh, I also I have another one just like that, but this one is in a better condition, and replace those metal pieces and one here. So let me show you all around so you can see how it looks. This is the back side, this is the top side, this is the front side, and this is the bottom, and also this is from the right and on the left side. Okay, now let's take a look inside what has been done on this. I spent quite a bit of time to fix it, and it was a good exercise. I learned a few things about this instrument, and let's see. Okay, so to open this, and again, a lot of screws, when they are old, they are hard, they're rusted, and they don't work well. So I replaced a lot of those with usually I replace with stainless screws. So this is a stainless screws, and they also polished, so they have this good shine. Oops, dropped it. So let's see under the grill. Also replaced this fabric, and actually this is the original label. I peeled it a little bit, and oh no, I think I put fabric over it, or peeled it. I think I peeled it, yeah, I can see that. Peeled it a little off and put the fabric under it so it stays here. What it says, Rostovskaya Sovnarkhoz Bayanная фабрика, Bayan 52X100. So Rostov, Bayan plant or factory, Bayan 52X100. That's an abbreviature for 52 buttons on the right side and 100 on the left side. And then so some numbers, like for referring to the standard or whatever. Anyway, this valves, they are aluminum valves. Most of the time they are actually used wood in those days, but for this one it's aluminum. What is under the cushion is, this is Italian, it's felt with the leather. So it comes as a double layer thing. You can find them online if you look for it. And then you cut the sides and you glue it to the valve and install it. And also this wire, I cut a silicone tubing pieces and put it over this wire, and the two tongues on the valve were bent to lock it in place. So this is also like a flexible, so you can see it can flex a little, adjust, self-adjusting valves kind of. So all this is replaced, then adjusted the height of the keys to have them at the same level. Okay, you know what, I was just looking at it closely, and I think I misled you when I said I replaced. I forgot. I think those are, I see some of them are compressed quite a lot, so some of them are replaced but not all of them. The felt behind the bottom, I'm sorry, I just realized that. So, but valves, definitely all these valves were replaced, adjusted, and it's all straight and seals. There is no leakage on this side at all. Air leakage I'm talking about. Okay, we'll close this. I did not repaint anything on the outside surface. It does not look bad at all, and I'm trying to minimize the amount of time I spend on it so that I can sell it for less. Because if the more time you spend, the higher the price, and then there is less market for that price. Especially for the instrument of this level, it just doesn't worth to invest too much of my time in it. While I'm opening, I can say a couple words about the straps. The straps are, I did not make those. They come from another instrument. All I did, they were this part that is an extension of this belt. It was very rotted, so I replaced it. I made this one. This is homemade. And also put this is like a stretchable fabric, so it goes over elements that might scratch or might produce sound when they bounce, like clicking sound. Okay, looking inside. First we're gonna look in the left side. Okay. I pulled out 6 nails, 3 from the front, 3 from the back. So those are the reeds. And what I did here, so you can see the corner, I sealed it with beeswax again, all around. I think there was a little bit of air leakage there, but not anymore. These are the reed blocks with the reed plates. They have a nice response. Again, I would say like for student level, it's a good response, but for professional, that's usually like an average, or maybe, I don't know, kind of near average for the professional grade instruments. But the professional grade instruments, they cost thousands of dollars. They are not, even in Russia, they don't go for less than $1,000 per instrument. Okay, I'm not going to take the others, it's just the same, three reed blocks. What's in the left side? Here is what's inside. Again, this is for the bass. What it has this reed block has 2 reed sets. The lower notes on this side, and then a little octave higher note on this side. But this bayan has what's called selective bass. No, not selective bass, sorry. Not sure even what's the right translation, but typical bayan would have 4 reeds playing on the bass note, and they octave apart. But this one will also play 4, but the other 2 notes will be taken from the chord reed block. This is for the chords, and common bayan where this resonator will have another 2 extensions, one on each side for additional 2 more notes. Okay. This one moved. I need to glue that. I'm gonna glue the piece so it doesn't slide like this, because that's not good. That shouldn't slide like this. I think there was a piece probably missing. Anyway, it's clean inside. This is what looks on inside. Yeah, it replaced that seal around it, that white thing. This is again a silicone porous with closed pores material that should not degrade in terms of its softness over time or the compression. So it should be a better seal than. Oops. Oh, I know why. I put it reverse. That's why it's not going. It should be this way. Because I'm compressing silicone, so these nails, they're pretty tight. I mean, I can barely pull them. Some of them I cannot put by hand. I have to use some metal piece or plastic, whatever, to push them in. Okay, and I added those rubber feet. Okay, let's take a quick look in the left mechanic. I adjusted left mechanic so that when you press the chord button, all three notes in the chord will play at the same time. So that takes, sometimes it takes a while. I mean, not days, but could be like hours or fraction of an hour, depending how it goes. Okay, so this is what mechanics look like here. This type of so also replaced on the top this two nuts. Now they are stainless and they have, this is like a thumb nut or something that you don't need any instrument tools. Oh, I also added here, you might be able to see that this is a Teflon pieces of tubing over it, so it's a little softer and slides a little better, less friction. This is all made out of steel, and it was probably zinc plated or something like that, and you can see a little bit of rust on some of them, which will not affect the sound or playability of the instruments. It's just rust. Oh, also I replaced all these valves. This I didn't like the ones, the original. They were all cracking and splitting, so I made new valves. This is out of plywood. Again, I used this Italian double layered cushion. You cannot see the valves for the quartz. They are under this mechanics, but I also replaced those. So that made it airtight and softer. When it closes, it doesn't make any clapping sound. So this instrument is, I'm gonna probably put it on eBay or list it on Craigslist, but basically it's for sale. If you see that video, you can contact me about it. If it's sold, I'll have something similar, maybe better, but something should be available. Not always, sometimes. And that will be my next instrument. I just received a couple days ago, when was it on? I think it was 4 days ago. I received an instrument from, I bought it from a widow. Her husband passed away and he played the bayan. And he is in America. They live in Georgia state. And I'll show you next. So, again, this is for beginners level. This someone who wants to try to play bayan, this is a good instrument. It's also I did mention that it's pretty bright and strong sound. So if you, in case where you need to play for audience, and it's not a small room, it's like a decent sized room for, I don't know, 50 people. You don't need amplification, they'll hear you. This is pretty loud instrument. They won't hear, the bass maybe won't be as deep. Right? It sounds rich and deep here in a small room, but in a large room, the deepest notes might not sound as rich or as powerful. Okay? So, and I'll show you how I put it in this, but you might come up with your own technique. So you want straps to be on the front side, but first, so what I do is I bend here, this is the top of the instrument, go this way, and because it just fit just enough, and then from the bottom goes here, you place it inside, okay, and then you move them here where the keyboard, there is more room right in this. Oh, here is a label also, I don't know if you can easily see. Bayan Fabrika Rostov-Don. Bayan Factory, Rostov-Don is the name of the city. And article, it's just whatever, they refer to the number for the product number basically. Oh, you couldn't see, but basically what I did, I closed it and then I locked this. Sometimes, let me put the camera down. What I want to make sure that is covered in the video. So this is, when you put it, sometimes this little piece will be like that. So you're holding it here, you're closing it, but this guy is sticking out. What do you want to make sure? You want to make sure it's inside. And then once it's in, you just push on it, it will close it. I don't have the key for that, but it should not open by itself. But the good thing about the design, the handle is on this side, and if it opens toward you, so you will immediately catch it. It's not gonna fall out of the case. Another thing I want to mention with this bayan, I did an experiment. I flew with this instrument in US just to see how this will hold if I don't take it apart, just go. And they did not, I didn't use this case, I put it in a bag, and that was one of the mistakes. Instrument should be carried in the instrument case, so the people who see you, they know it's an instrument, because they were asking, is it what is inside? I said it's an instrument, and they asked me still to leave it. I was not checking it in, but when you're boarding on the plane, they ask you to leave it, and they will put it in the storage, and then you pick it up on the way out. And my experience, they slightly broke it, but there was a very minor problem. I had to adjust the keys, and I think one of the resonators shifted. And I also noticed today when I was making this video that for one of the resonator for the cords, I need to put a little block. I think that could be another damage that I did not notice before. Anyway, but this bayan, I tried, I know that should work fine, and for student level, beginners level, it's a nice instrument. Enough about this one. Okay. The next instrument, it came in this box case. I don't think this is the original case. I think this is the case from accordions, for accordion, Italian accordion or something, because I've seen those for the accordions, or maybe something else. Anyways, that's what I received. The instrument came without straps, so I put some old straps so I can demonstrate how it plays. And let's do a demonstration. The instrument was shipped through USPS. It was packed good enough to arrive, but there were certain things that were breaking off inside, like for example, these are the reeds from this instrument. They were floating inside. They broke off. Now, one of the problems there is not that it wasn't just packed, not the way it should be, but also because the instrument is old and this is a time to re-wax. All of the reeds are coming off, so all except the ones somebody already worked on it and he fixed some of them, so those are okay. But everything that has not been patched, it's time to re-wax. Yeah, you will see inside. Okay, so this instrument is from Armavir factory. That's the name of the city again. It has a lot of scratches on the surface. I don't know exactly how it was stored. Even all I know is the guy who owned it, he played bayan. Was he professional or not? I don't know. Maybe he was. Maybe it was like a spare instrument for him. I'm not sure. This bayan has potential. So right now it's in a bad condition, needs a lot of work. But when that work is completed, this is going to be a good instrument. Again, this has bigger range. And remember I mentioned that so the button from this row and this row aligned, like a vertical line, not like on the other one. There will be like a little shift. It's a little bit misaligned like this. Here it's perfectly aligned. Okay. Some of the surfaces are not bad. I think this is all original celluloid. So it has a bunch of scratches, etc. I'm not planning to fix the scratches. There is no need. This is not a professional level, not a professional grade instrument. It's like a good instrument, but not great instrument. I'm gonna put it this way. Okay. So. Anyway, I don't know why, but when I play it, I feel like I need to play a little bit on this before I can kind of feel it, play more relaxed. I don't know why, but it's nothing wrong with the instrument. It's just different from what I used to play. Okay, I usually play on 52 button on the right side, and this one has 61, so it goes from G up to G 5 octaves above. Or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, big range. The reeds from this button, and this one needs to be cleaned. Probably it does not respond well. But those two that are just blowing air, these are the ones that I showed you came off, and you'll see what's inside. So it's a really nice instrument. Really definitely has good potential. The way I perceive the sound of this bass is it's more like a common or classical Russian bayan bass, very deep. However, those reed plates are coming off. You will see they're barely holding there. When you push with the finger to hold it down, it produces even more richer sound. Now, some of the way it responds, or the way the proportions between those 4 notes that we hear, the octave apart notes, differs. Like, for example, this one, what is it, D, I think? Yeah. You don't it's hard to hear the very lowest one. You hear the 2 in the middle. Here, you on the G note, you can definitely hear the lowest really well. And you know, for some reason, when I just picked it up first time and start playing, just messing around with it, with the sound, I mean, and I feel that the bass sounds like a tractor to me, like the sound of the tractor. It's nice. It's nice, rich, warm tone. It does not start like instantly, like I have some other bayans where it would just you barely touch it and it excites right away. This one does not. It needs a little fraction of a second to achieve to get to the full resonance, and maybe because it's need to be rewaxed. It's for me to find out if it's going to change or not. Okay. So what else? Basically, it plays really easy. Buttons are all plastic. Plastic with metal linkage, and we'll look inside here, inside, and on the left side mechanics. I don't know if maybe. Два веселых гуся. Two merry geese. Or two merry happy geese. Anyway, so let's look inside. So, and while I'm opening, I'll talk about it. So this instrument, this has a plastic wheel here for adjusting the strap, the left strap. I make those out of aluminum, so I don't know if I will replace it. If I have some left over from the previous run, I usually build a few extra, and it will fit. I'll just replace this. The problem with plastic, if you jerk on it really hard, the plastic will break. Aluminum will not break. Okay, just stronger. It also has 6 rows on the left side. I forgot to mention that, but you can see them in the picture. You can count them. I mean, in the video or the pictures, you can count them. So if somebody is gonna be interested in it, I can restore it, and it will take me probably at least a month. It depends. It depends what other things I'm busy with. It could be less than a month, or it could be more than a month. So you just need to contact me and ask me how quickly that can be done. So these valves are all wood. This is all original. I can see that. That's the way they did it for 90% of the instrument. So wooden valve slot. This metal linkage goes in the slot, which is just a little wider, and then they glue it there, and they put a leather circle, like a disc, over it. There is one layer of leather under this. I would like to use the same that I showed on the first bayan, or I'm sorry, on the second bayan, that Italian probably. I'm not sure yet. If you can ask, if somebody is interested and say, I want you to restore it in a certain way, like use this material on this side, or foam or no foam, felt, I'll do it that way. If nobody is interested before I start myself, I'll just do as I feel. Remember I mentioned the 2 rows. This is a little shifted, not here, it's right here. The 3rd row is here. I'm not going to open it. It's essentially the same thing, just different linkage. This is a metal piece, and this, I think it's all original. They have a paper that holds the edges of the fabric, and there is a screen, not fabric, just a screen, to prevent dust collection inside. In terms of response, yes, the most important thing is response, like I said. So this has a pretty good response. I think it's better response than the one I just showed before this. It's probably just as good as the first bayan I showed. Maybe some notes even better. Some notes really well respond. Another thing about response is the air. If you have big instrument, big bellows, big cross section, when you squeeze it even a little bit, you're pushing a lot of air through. Imagine like a piston. If a piston is small, you move it by 1 inch, you only, this diameter times 1 inch, that's the volume. If it's this big, like on a car, the bigger displacement, the same displacement will give a lot more, the same move, the length will give a lot bigger displacement. 3 reed blocks, okay? Let's take a look. I'm gonna probably just take one of them. So I'm not sure how it. I see somebody was fixing it. I see the labels and writing. So somebody was working on it. In some places I see this, the very dark, like almost black stuff, and it's not like fully hardened. I think this is shellac. This is a shellac that you can use for like a head gasket. When you replace head gasket, you can use the shellac to glue it on. You can still buy it in the automotive stores. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe it's something else, but it looks like shellac. It doesn't smell at all. I mean, I can't say what it smells like. These are, you can see where the missing reeds here, and one there, and one there. So I do have all of them. It's just they need to be redone. This is all need to be cleaned and glued back. And some of them, I mean, this side seems to be okay, but I don't know how long it's gonna hold up. probably this all needs to be re-waxed. I think it should be re-waxed. Okay, this is the right side. Left side. Again, remember I was saying that for most of the bayans, the classical bayan, the block for the base will have 4 sets of reeds. 1 set, and another one below that, right at the bottom, and 2 on this side. So when you push the base button, 1 valve opens, and it opens this a set of 4 reeds. When you push the cord, it will open 3 valves for this resonator. And you can see somebody was working on it, tuning it, I guess, and he put a label. I'm going to pull it out and show it. So this is labeled. I think somebody revaxed this. It feels like it. Not 100% sure, but that's what it looks like. Okay. The base, Y base was not like going fast right away. And you probably can see that, for example, right here. See? And they all like this. So they're just sitting here basically. There is nothing that really holds them. They're not all as easy as this two, but they all at the point when they will be like this too. If you shake it, I think they will come off. So I don't recommend shaking it, but just saying that they're not holding well. The bellows seem to be okay. No, somebody was fixing. I think it might have leaks because I found like a pieces of tape here, short pieces of tape here. So it was worn in some places, which sometimes is a good sign. It means people were playing it. The bellows move fine. They don't have that springy feel on them. Okay, now I'm going to close it. So this instrument, as you can see, needs some work. And the way it can be restored, you can restore it and spend a lot of time on it and do a really, really good job, fix every little thing. Or I can restore whatever needs to be restored to be in a good playable condition, not so much good in terms of cosmetics or little minor things. That's another thing that can be discussed if somebody gets interested in it. Okay, what else I'm going to show? I noticed also this gasket on the left side, it's wider here than there. So it feels like, I'm not sure, maybe somebody was putting some extra, and air leaks from multiple spots. I mean, when you play it, you can feel it's coming off of the corners and some other places. By the way, I'm opening the left side grill, and there is a price tag here. It's not the tag, but it's impregnated on the surface. It used to cost 190 rubles during Soviet Union time, which was a lot actually. I think engineer was making about 200. We usually use engineering salary as a point of reference. So it's a 1 month's engineering salary those days. So in America, engineers make, say, on average between, like, I don't know, starting from 50K in a year, so several $1,000 a month, right? Like more. Anyway, label again, original label, and then the paper around it. I like the way they glue it on. It's pretty cool, simple and elegant. This is the mechanics on the left side. It needs to be adjusted a lot. I can see some of them so far from the those vertical those wires that definitely needs a lot of adjustment. So valves, adjustment of this one, this left keyboard, and re-wax the reeds. That's a minimum, plus replacing the straps. I'm not going to spend too much time on this. Anyway, inside it's not bad. It's in a relatively clean condition, and it's working. So what else I wanted to say about Soviet instruments? About instruments in general, I think if it's played, this is better for instrument versus it's not being played. For accordions maybe especially, because when accordion is closed, or bayan, it's almost sealed chamber, and there is leather inside, there is some natural materials that can start degrading or rotting, or if you have high humidity the reeds might begin to rust. So when you play it, kind of push the air through, kind of ventilate it for a while, for a little bit, so you make it it's more like a maintenance part of the maintenance, just play on it. So that's what it is, but it needs work. So it's actually like when you push it, it's not too quick to open it. It opens, but I know it has a bunch of holes and a bunch of leaks. Response on this one, here it's really good response. This one doesn't start right away. Same with this one. It's pretty good. I would say for student level accordion, that's definitely better than average. Better than average. Same for the right side, left side. So